Hey everybody, what's going on? This is Campo. Welcome back to my channel, and I have another Alliance War season video for you. This is the second war of the season. We're going up against SHBR, a very good alliance, and we need this win today. Coming off of a tough loss, this is going to be an important one for us to stay in Tier 2 and really get the season off to a good start, which is what we needed for this week. Now, I will tell you, this was the wackiest war that I've been part of as a battle group in a very, very long time. And I don't think it's a coincidence, but I was the lead planner today. And I will tell you that I made at least two mistakes that led to deaths, and one of them that almost led to deaths. And, you know, I'm still learning a little bit about planning at this level in Tier 1. I have a great team that's supporting me as well, and they did catch some things. But it did feel bad to be responsible for a few deaths in our battle group. Either way, it happens. You learn a lot from it. I think the fact that Untouchables is back is important to remember because we did a whole season without a global node. And I think two of the fights that I was talking about, that Untouchables node really came into play. And I will say that I gave myself Quake today for the very first time in a very long time. And that's partially because I wanted her against Human Torch on ENP modification and Bubble Shield node 24. So as I am just kind of like going through these fights fast forward, because there's nothing really to talk about here. I just took her in because I had her on the team and she was going to shut down these champs without any risk for me. I will say that because of one of my errors, it was really, really good to have Quake because I ended up having to clean up a fight, which was only fair because I was the one who sent this gentleman to his death. And if I didn't have Quake, I think it would have been a little bit more tricky to salvage any attack bonuses on it. So mistakes were made, guys. You're going to see one of them right after this fight. And as Quake is about to finish demolishing Hood without taking any damage, I do want to kind of set up the next fight. So this was mistake number one, and it was Mordo on node 23. This is a node that I know exists. I know people do this. It makes sense because anytime Mordo evades, like even through the Mixmaster node that's on him, he's going to astral evade you. And I gave myself Archangel here. And you may know that I just grinded for the dupe of Archangel. I was really excited to bring Archangel to my first Tier 1 season war using Archangel. And I've taken Mordo on the map in other places with Archangel with the Magneto House of X pre-fight. And it's been no problem because you can parry, you can heavy, you can do all the normal things. You can hit into him, you can cancel his power gain. And I was like, this is going to be fine. I'm just going to throw off a few heavies. I'm going to get a ton of neurotoxins. Everything's going to be fine. But I underestimated two things. First of all, this is a long fight. It's a mini boss. It has 250k health. And what happens is that in the kit of Archangel, I'm going to active stun him anytime my neurotoxins fall off. So as you can see there, I was trying to get him to dash toward me so I could re-parry. I accidentally threw two mediums in a row, and that brings us to the other problem, which is Mixmaster. Meaning that AA is not a proper evade counter, and because of that, I have to be very conscious of what combos I'm throwing. So as you can see there, you throw one medium into his block, you throw another medium into his block, you're going to get astral evaded. Same thing with doing back-to-back heavies. So I have wasted my indestructible boost, and I've done no damage on him. I'm scared to hit him. I'm like, which combo did I just use? Should I bait out specials? Should I just hold block and let him come to me and re-parry? Finally, the latter strategy works. The neurotoxins don't cancel the power gain there. So as you can see, I have two. That's not enough to completely shut him down. I need to bait this special because he has like a million prowess. And right there, I threw a heavy, which was the last thing I did. I got astral evaded. I threw into a active stun. I got astral evaded again. So this is what I'm talking about. There was way more to keep track of in this fight than I was expecting. And then the fact that he, once again, hit into a passive stun, I mean an active stun, like I should definitely get a quarter every time I do that, because I would be rich for the amount of times that I hit that guy into an active stun today. So again, he has so many prowess. If he throws a special 3 or a special 1 and it hits me, the fight's over. So you need to come toward me, man. You need to throw this freaking special 2. And the power gain's about to come back. I throw 1 more heavy. We have 3 neuros. That's not enough to cancel his power gain, but thank God he ran toward me instead of turtling up at that very, very last moment, and I was able to get him down. That was no thanks to my play. That was no thanks to that assignment. I will tell you, my heart rate was through the roof. I was shaking. I knew in that moment that I had made the mistake assigning myself there. Maybe a better Archangel or a Horseman Archangel or something would have been able to take care of it. But what we should have done there is a proper evade counter, like a Mole Man, a Falcon, or something like that, because that would have just eliminated a whole side of the fight. So anyway, lesson learned, but thankfully I did not give up a death there. I just won it by the skin of my teeth. Hopefully it was a nice clip to watch as I was getting beaten by Mordo. But Archangel did prevail with a little bit of luck toward the end of that matchup. So this is what I was talking about before. I just wanted to use Quake here because, I don't know, I think there are other options. Like, honestly, Mole Man, if I had assigned him to node 23 and node 24, we could have probably done without Quake. But just looking at who else was on the field and what everyone else had to do, we did have a Mole Man, but he had to go somewhere else. I was like, why not just Quake this? I've Quake Torch a lot. I've talked about this in my previous videos. But I remember like one of the top base hero rating guys like Gents or M or something used to have a rank 2 torch as his profile, and when I was learning Quake I used to just dual torch all the time. So I'm very, very comfortable with torch, and I had no problem with that. So a very exciting section 1 is over. We are actually winning the war, and things are looking good. My war plan was mostly working at this point, and this was probably the most fun fight that I took because I haven't seen Void here, and as you know, this path 2B has been refreshed to have strike counter block penetration as opposed to combat power rate. So basically you need to play this like normal strike counter, canceling out the charges and throwing specials. Elsa is great for that because you usually use her special 1 in fights of this length. So I'm feeling pretty good about this. I'm feeling good about her against Void in general. And the only other thing in this fight is the disorient timer, which she is going to be able to purify as well. So I treat this fight a lot like a path 4 or an ebb and flow intercept style. We get the evade counter off. I do a full 5-hit combo, and then I throw a heavy attack. Now, because I didn't parry to start the fight and I used the evade counter, I had to kind of get to my first bar of power by doing a couple extra hits, and because of that he has some of the block penetration charges on him. It's not enough to really make a difference. As you can see, even blocking part of that special 2 didn't do that much. So these don't seem to be as lethal as the Furies that you get from strike counter Fury, but you do want to keep them off of you, because if you have a disorient on you and one of these, then you could end up taking a little bit of damage through your block. So I'm waiting for my evade thing to come back, and it does. She's clearly winning the fight. You know, I have degened a little bit from Void's abilities when those debuffs have ended up on me, but because she's Elsa, I'm not even really keeping track of my combo too much. I'm just worrying about Void finding my openings and dealing with strike counter, and she's able to rinse him there. So yet another Void that cannot withstand the attack of Elsa Bloodstone, which is really cool. I really, really love using Elsa for Void just about anywhere, and that was my first time doing him on that new node, and I think it was a success. So next up, this was going to be my final fight of the war, my 6th fights. It has chitinous thorns, which means I will bleed out if he has an armor up, but since the Silver Surfer synergy doesn't exist in war, it's not a problem here. I put a combat regen on me at the beginning, And you will see that I am playing a little bit into the strike counter because I don't want to get too many of those combat power rate things on me. I do want to be able to throw specials every once in a while as they can help with the neurotoxins. The RNG finally is going in my favor. We have 3 on him. Because I'm winning this fight pretty steadily, I'm just going to block the end of that special 2. I am pretty comfortable evading it. However, you know, I didn't want to really risk anything in a war where I already was playing kind of poorly. So as you can see there, my neurotoxins fell off. We got a nice re-parry. I do a combo into a special. None of them convert, so I'm just going to kind of let him come back to me, convert a few more neurotoxins, and at this point, I'm pretty sure that he's just going to bleed out from the neurotoxins, and if I wasn't sure before, having 6 on him is going to do it. So that was a more conventional Archangel fight. I was expecting the Mordo fight to go that way, and it didn't, which was my bad. So anyway, now I thought my war was done, but I accidentally sent my good friend to his death on this spider ham. We chatted about it. We were thinking that Rolk might be an option as opposed to Falcon. I was worried about Falcon getting backed into the corner, even though he would have been a better choice. But the issue is this new Untouchables node. Because what ends up happening is that if he starts evading, he's going to just constantly have a special 1 and he's going to back you up and you're going to die. So I'm quaking a fight that I would never send myself to quake. And you're going to see I waste my indestructible boost right out of the gate. So now I'm like, well, I got to play perfectly. And I'm going to play this in real time because I want to tell you a little bit about what was going on in my head. You know, I had just actually gotten out of church. I was playing at church, and then I saw the message, Campo, we need you to clean up this fight. And like I said, I was 100% happy to clean up this fight because it was my error sending the Rolk. You know, I don't want to like sound too self-deprecating, but I just felt responsibility. And we didn't really have anyone else on the field, like maybe a Human Torch with Incinerate immunity, but that sounds like a nightmare. So the reason I would never send myself on this fight is because I consider myself an above average Quake player, but I am not at the level of like the top Quake players in tier 1. I can take just about any fight where they'll get stunned, and if it's like a not weird champ. But this one has the combination of Spider-Ham's animations have always been a little tricky to read for me. His heavy attack is very, very fast. And additionally, he's stun immune, which means that, you know, I don't get any breaks. I have to be on it the whole time. But after that shaky start, it had been going pretty well until I dropped a heavy attack. And I will say Quake feels a little different since these parry dex bugs have happened. So, you know, I don't know how much of this is me being rusty because I don't bring her to war as much. How much of it is dex bugs? How much of it just like my scrub playing? But I did get hit again. I still have plenty of HP. It looks like if I just play perfectly, I'm going to be fine. But I did end up messing up one more time. And you'll see right where that is. As we're about to start another Aftershock cycle, I'm thinking in my head maybe 2 Aftershock cycles and he's dead. Haven't had to engage with him. He hasn't gotten a bar of power from my mistakes yet. Things are looking pretty good. But then at one point, he throws 2 hits, and I think it's coming up right about now, where he throws 2 hits and then I drop a heavy. And that's going to happen any second now. It's a pretty long fight, guys. There it was. Drop the heavy. Again, don't know if that was my fault or not. I have a power sting on me. So look, I'd make a huge mistake in about 1 second by throwing a special. It gives him untouchables. It gives me a power sting. I am now in assassin's range. Look at this clutch special 1. Evade at the wall. Everything's going great. I just have to finish him 1 more cycle. But look at my health bar. 17%. That is in assassin's range. And he hits me, one of my evades fails, and then he just sort of decides to be a complete jerk and heavy attack me with a 24k crit at the end. So I was beside myself, man. I mean, I don't mean to be overly dramatic, but these wars really matter, and I was so close. And then on top of it, he is also running unfazed. So I just brought in Elsa because I knew like 4 hits would kill him. and that I would have to really mess up for something to go wrong there. But of course, he did have unfazed. That was kind of like the last like middle finger that he gave me on that fight. But yeah, I'm really disappointed in that, just because I'm always hard on myself. But the good news was I did look at the scoreboard going into that one, and we actually had a 4 attack bonus lead. So what I needed to have happen was to basically not give up more than 1 attack bonus, and then our boss killer needed to basically not die twice. And we were pretty confident that our boss killer was going to get a solo, and he did. And because of that, we ended up winning this war 11-8. Now, our battle group did not do as well as usual. We did have 1 disconnect, which was a drag. There were the 2 deaths on that spider ham that I was talking about. And then I think there were just 2 other deaths on the field, which were just, kind of your commonplace deaths. But looking back at this war, I will say I've learned a lot. I've learned to not underestimate the untouchables node. I think it does make more of a difference than we're used to, having no globals the previous season. And, all in all, like, I will take a victory and a learning experience all day, because it didn't cost the Alliance anything. Everyone was really good at picking each other up and being supportive, and that's all you can ask for in a war like this. So anyway, this one was a wacky war. Glad that I got it all taped and that you guys were able to watch some of it. Would love to hear your thoughts. Definitely not going in with Archangel against that Mordo again, but thankfully I did survive. It was just a wild day, lots of emotions, lots of roller coaster, but we are going into the 3rd war of the season with a 1-1 record. If we can scratch out a win today, we're going to be in really good shape as we try to push for Masters. But that's going to do it for today, guys. Thanks for checking this one out, and always for your support, and I will catch you guys in the next one.